Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we are going to be looking at Sequence by Relish and the 1914, an effect that I did mention in my last video of last week, my EDC video, but a product that I did not yet receive but I wanted to include in my EDC because I had an idea of how to use it. So it finally arrived and I'm making my review for it right now. I hope that you're going to enjoy it. So let's roll the intro and get straight into it. Okay, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Sequence. So what is Sequence? Sequence is essentially an effect where you have three cards that are double-sided with different sequences of ESP symbols. And your spectator is going to tell you the symbols and you will always know what the target symbol in that sequence is, no matter what. So I don't have anyone here to perform it to, but I will tell you the way that I perform it and my kind of scripting and thinking behind it, because I feel that it may be more interesting to some than what I've seen online. People saying that the sequence done in the trailer doesn't really appeal to them and maybe this effect isn't for them. So I'll tell you how I perform it. Maybe that is going to change your mind. But essentially, I perform this solely as an intro to something else. So I don't do this as a singular piece. This is always something that leads me into something else. So the way that I perform it is I put it like as an icebreaker piece. So when I go to a table or if I do something with someone, I tell them that before I attempt to do something, I always need to warm up with my own skills, warm up with my spectators, and then maybe get a test of reading someone's thoughts. So to do that, I have here some cards with me that help me achieve that. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to give you these cards and you're going to take them and look at the top. There's age ranges. So you're going to go find your age range and take that respective card. Then, as you can see, there's different sequences. There's 10 sequences of symbols, right? And I'm going to have you pick one. But I'm going to have you also remember the target symbol at the end. So this would be the sequence and this would be the target symbol. Just so you know that if I tell you to tell me the sequence, don't tell me the target symbol. That one just keep in your head, okay? So then you give these to the spectator. He's going to then take the one respective for his age range. You're going to be turned around, right? You're going to be with your back turned or whatever. So let's say they take this one. Then they're going to pick any sequence without telling you the number. So they're not even going to tell you the number. They're just going to pick any sequence. And you're going to tell them that right now what you're going to do is you're going to try and just refresh your memory a bit. So tell them to pick any sequence. And then they're going to read the sequence from left to right as you would read normally. So then they would read the sequence, right? And then you would say, okay, so I'm not sure exactly of your age, so I can't use that to go off of. But if I remember, that would be, those would create that. It would be a circle, right? So then you would reveal whatever that symbol is. So you're gonna say, perfect. So that's just me using a bit of memory to kind of get warmed up here. So now we're gonna go into the second thing, which is kind of playing together. I'm gonna kind of try and read you. So keep the same card and go to another sequence. Now I want you to read me that sequence, but instead of doing it from left to right, I want you to do it from right to left. It makes it a bit more complicated. So read it from right to left, okay? And I'll focus on the symbol at the end, okay? So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna try and read your tell. What I'm gonna ask you is you can lie or tell the truth. I'm gonna ask you what the symbol is at the end of your sequence and you can lie or tell me the truth, okay? So what is the symbol at the end of your sequence? The three wavy lines. Now, immediately I saw that when you told me that, you kind of twitched in your eye, which means that you're immediately lying. And I think that you tried to lie by a lot, which caused that twitch, because the symbol that's actually at the end of the line is completely different to the wavy lines that are curvy, because I'm feeling kind of blocked in. It's a square, right? It wasn't the wavy lines, it's the square. Perfect. So now we're kind of working here together. So that works. So the last thing that we're going to do, we're going to just take it out of proportion and just try and read your thought. So I want you to do is I want you to mix the cards, forget the age ranges, and just pick any card that you want. Then on that card, pick any sequence that you want. You got it? Perfect. And I want you to read it in any order that you want. So you can tell me the 5 symbols in any order that you want so that it makes it literally impossible for me to have memorized all of these or to know what's going on. So I just want you to tell me all of those, tell me all the symbols, okay? And I want you to tell the last symbol just in your head. So keep repeating that symbol over and over in your head. The last symbol, the target symbol, keep repeating it, repeating it, repeating it. Star, star, star. It's a star, right? Perfect. So now that I think we're warmed up and I think we're in tune together, let's try something else. So that would essentially be the way that I perform it, right? So immediately when this is done, I go into, now that we're kind of warmed up, let's try something else. So that is a quick mock performance of sequence. Knowing that, where do you buy this? How much does it cost? And what do you get? So you can buy this at pretty much any magic store. I got mine from ALAKAZAM Magic. If ever you want to get yours from there, there's a discount code of 10% down below. But sequence will essentially set you back $25 US. And what you get is this. You get this nice little packaging similar to Iris and Die Will Be Done. Inside you get another envelope which has your instructional video, which is separate videos with some performances, some discussions, some additional ideas, and everything that you need to know to perform it. It's separate videos, but I think if you would compile all of them together, it would be around maybe 50 minutes to an hour of tutorial on this effect. Then you also get your cards. So you get 3 cards just like these. They're really well made, and these are probably going to last you a lifetime. They're made of plastic, so they won't rip, they won't stain. So these are very well made, double-sided, 10 sequences on each side, which means 20 sequences per card. So yeah, these are the cards that you get, and you get 3 of them. You don't get any spares, but as I said, these are made from plastic, so they're probably going to last you a lifetime. So that is what you get with your purchase. So knowing that, let's talk about difficulty. So how difficult is sequence to perform? Sequence is very easy to perform if you're familiar with the numerology of ESP symbols. So I think that if you're someone that's interested in this, you probably already know quite a bit about ESP, so you know what I just meant by the numerology of it. So if you know that, this effect is almost self-working. There's a bit of calculation that you have to do during the effect, but it is very, very bare bones and very simple. Plus, you have plenty of time to do it. So even if you're incredibly bad or you forget how this is done, just by thinking a bit about it in your presentation while you're trying to get the thought or while you're trying to read or tell, you can just think about the method and just do it so slow that you won't have any issues. So this is really, really easy to do, really simple. I think that a beginner that literally just buys this, even if he doesn't know anything about ESP symbols and what they mean and how they're kind of interpreted in magic in terms of numbers, he will probably be able to do this in 5 minutes. So this is very, very simple. Moving on now to practicality. So how practical is sequence? As with all my discussions on practicality, what do you have to carry around? All you have to carry around is these 3 cards that are super, super thin. You can just place these in your wallet, in your pocket, in a small envelope that goes in your wallet, anywhere you want. You can carry these with you without an issue. Pack small and you can do the routine without a problem. So really good regarding carrying capacity. In terms of angles, there is no angles here whatsoever. 360 degrees. Inspectability, you basically hand out the cards from the start to the end. The spectator can look at them, like inspect them. They won't find anything, so the cards are fully inspectable. There's no force or anything here with the age groups. You can even disregard that if you want, so those don't play a role in it whatsoever, which means also that this is repeatable. You can do this at every single table. The results are going to be different every single time. As well, you don't need a table for this. You can do this stand up, sitting down, table, no table. You can even possibly do this virtually just by showing the cards to the spectator and having them do it if you so wish. So that as well, it means you can pretty much go and do this anywhere. And yeah, this is very much pretty practical since all you need is 3 cards and that's it, as well as you won't probably ever forget how this is done. If you're familiar, as I said, with ESP symbols, you probably already know how this works before even buying it, which was my case. So I already knew how this was going to work and it worked exactly like that. So you probably already know, which means that you're never going to forget how this works ever. So practically it is very good. Regarding where to perform, well, this isn't an effect or doesn't really work for stage, parlor, cabaret, or big scenarios like that. This is really meant for a casual performance or for a performance that you do as I perform it as an intro to something else. And I think that is where you're going to want to perform this. So table hopping, or if someone asks you, oh, can you show me a few things? Or if someone's like, oh, come show my friend something. So in casual type performances or in table hopping for performances, this is where this works really well. And what I found out recently is that quite a few people, if you introduce yourself as a mentalist, they don't know what that means, and they're going to be, but what exactly does that mean? So you can use this trick as a way to tell them. So you know, oh, well, a mentalist is someone that can read someone's tells more than anyone. It's someone that can pluck a certain idea from someone's head when they're thinking about it. Let me show you. Do you mind if I show you a few things that can show you that? Perfect. Let's try with a small warm-up, just to warm myself and warm you up to the idea of what's going to happen in a moment. So then you do this routine. So I feel that this works really well as an intro, and you would perform it, in my opinion, exclusively as an intro to something else. I wouldn't do this in the middle of a set. I wouldn't do this at the end of a set, or I wouldn't do this just as one trick and then go to another table. This is more as an intro or a gateway to something better, and that's where I feel that this shines. But essentially, to wrap it up, this is essentially performed anywhere close up. Okay? So, having said all of that, what are the positives and negatives of sequence? So let's start with the negatives. What are the negatives of sequence? Well, one of the negatives I saw online for some people is the age group. Personally, I find that the age groups are fine, and I think they're a really cool way of starting the effect and making it play more like a test. So I like it, but I know that some people don't like that it's on there. But again, it's not a major feature, so you can definitely get away from it. But it is a negative that some people have pointed out, and maybe it's going to be a negative for you. The second negative with this effect is that some people didn't like the routine that is provided in the trailer. But I think you can shape this up to be different, or shape it up as something else than what you saw in the trailer, and make it better and make it your own. I certainly made mine my own and made it play to my strengths and made it play to my story and the way that I do effects. So I definitely found a way to do it. Of course, for you, that may not be the case. But it is worth mentioning that you could have that problem if you decide to buy this and you don't already know what you intend to do with it. And lastly, the other negative is that some people think that this is too simple of a trick. And I agree to some extent. It is very simple, but if you dress it as kind of a test and a warm-up for you and your spectator, people are less likely to be so judgmental or be so kind of into the trick that they're seeking out to see how it's done. If you just play it as a small warm-up to something better, the person is going to lower their guard. They're kind of going to be less on edge. They're kind of be less inclined to see what's going on. They're just going to play the part of the test and have some fun with you. And I think that that is possibly, you know, because it is so simple of an effect and so direct, to some that may be a negative, but I feel that you can easily dress that up as I did with my presentation. So, having said that, what are the positives? The positives are it packs flat, it's probably going to last you a lifetime, it's super easy to do, the instructions are good, it leaves the opportunity for you to put your own presentation on it, it's ready to go at a moment's notice, it can be done over and over, it's inspectable, and it's a really cool opener for your routines. So, having discussed everything, would I recommend sequence, and what do I give it on a scale from 1 to 10? So I would recommend sequence if you already have a predetermined idea of what you want to do with it. If, for myself, as I mentioned, I already knew exactly what I wanted to do with sequence, I knew exactly the script that I wanted, I knew exactly the way that I wanted it used. So by buying it, I already knew everything that I needed to know about the effect. So I knew what I was getting into and what I was going to use it for, so I'm not kind of, you know, in the group where I'm kind of a bit sad of the purchase or I'm disappointed, right? I knew exactly what I was getting to. So if you know what you want to do with this, if you know how you want to include it in your show, or purely if you want a quick mentalism piece in your wallet to do at a moment's notice, then I'd say get it. However, if you're someone that does a lot of card magic, or everything that you do is based around cards or based around things that are not really mentalism, I think this is not really something for you, since I don't think it's really going to play as a standalone. And that's really, I'm adamant on that. I don't think this plays as a standalone effect, in my opinion. So I do recommend it if you see use for it, and if any of what I said spoke to you, I definitely recommend it. You won't be disappointed, since you pay once and you keep it for the rest of your life, as long as you don't lose it. So what do I rate sequence out of 10? I'm rating it an 8 on 10. It is something that I am going to use, it's something that I am already using. It's well made, but it's not something groundbreaking or something that I'm giddy to perform every day and that I can't wait to go show to different people, but it is something that I want to have with me, and I know when I'm going to use it and the scenarios I am going to use it in, and it will be there with me. So yeah, that is pretty much what I have to say about sequence. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that if you have any questions, you leave any comments. If you like my presentation of it, leave any comments down below. If not, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next review. Bye.